I used to think that a day of rest was for everyone except for moms. Because let's be honest, Sundays never felt restful. It felt like church bags, diaper changes, cooking extra food, trying to keep the house together while everyone was home all day. But God has shown me how to see the Sabbath in a totally different way. And it honestly is a game changer, not just for Sundays, but for my entire week. And it's amazing. And the thing I've kind of tapped into is seeing Sundays as a day of rest and reset. And I think as moms, we hear the word rest, and if you're anything like me, it feels like it needs to be earned, first of all. And it also feels like it's just not really an option because the house still needs us, everyone still needs us, there's always messes, everyone needs food all day, right? And there's just so many needs that there's not enough time or capacity to go around for us to think about resting. But I feel like as I work with more and more moms, it's not a problem of that moms aren't working hard enough. It's that they're not recharging enough. They're not recovering enough. Because all of us moms are hard workers. You have to be a hard worker to keep a household running, to keep kids alive and thriving. And if we want to get to a place of joy instead of burnout, Sundays are a huge opportunity that I, for a long time, was missing out on. My husband pointed out to me pretty recently, it's really hard for him to rest when he never sees me resting. And it was actually a legit wake-up call for me of like, yeah, like I can totally see that. It's not my intention, of course, but I realized I actually do want rest to be actually like a family value as opposed to a luxury that every once in a while we get to experience, you know? And so I started being more aware of that and realizing I don't want my kids growing up, honestly, thinking that mom never rests and that rest is bad or that they shouldn't rest. And that alone has kind of nudged me more and more to rest more often. And for us moms, we do have to get creative, I would say, about how to actually do that. We can't just have a silent day where we have hours and hours of uninterrupted time. That's not real life for most of us. If it is for you, please let me know in the comments. What are you doing that I can start doing? But I think for me, the Sabbath becomes more just incorporating intentional pockets of time for rest and what that looks like for you. It's going to look different for all of us. What's restful for you might actually feel stressful to me. I honestly don't do great. Just kind of sitting around not really doing anything. For me, it's more intentional, almost productive things. Journaling even, to me, would fall in that category of like, okay, I'm doing something. Even reading scriptures. Whereas some people, that's why I teach moms the vibes that I kind of came up with to help moms figure out just their way of doing things. And I found Miss Unashamed, for instance, when it comes to rest, that might look like just sitting, enjoying, right? Just watching her family, not really doing too much. Whereas Miss Clever, who is me, wants to be feeling more productive and probably wants to have a set amount of time. That's how my brain works. Like, okay, 20 minutes to even like sit and work on a puzzle as a family. Like that to me falls in that category of very restful, and yet I'm like accomplishing something, which makes me feel good. I feel like a weirdo, but let me know if that resonates with you at all. Whereas Miss Devoted might want to sit and kind of replenish her soul. Maybe read scriptures, maybe journal, maybe do other things that just feel very, very restful and good to her soul. And then you have Miss Inspired, who probably wants to be a little bit creative. maybe do something in the kitchen, just something very inspiring, maybe a little bit of, decorating that she didn't get around to. But for me, the Sabbath really hits the sweet spot when I'm using it as an opportunity to reconnect with God, reconnect with my family, and reconnect with myself. If I kind of see it in that way, not like boxes to check, but just 3 different things, like, okay, what could I do today to bring me closer to God? What could I do to bring me closer to my family? And then the hardest one, to really reconnect me with myself. We don't want to lose ourselves in motherhood, because then it just becomes kind of drudgery. We feel kind of resentful. We want to really tap into ourselves. What really just sounds so appealing to me and reconnects me to why I'm doing this, right? To why I chose to be a mom, to why I keep showing up for my family and my home, because then we can really thrive seeing that big picture and just taking the chance on Sundays to kind of reconnect to that. And then, so that's the whole rest part. The other part that I think as a mom, the Sabbath has to be there for is to reset. We serve all week long. We are there for all of our people for the week, right? And what if we took the chance for Sunday to kind of gear up for that a little bit? So I'm not talking like reset the whole house, because rest has to also be included in that. I'm talking about just one really simple, tiny way to just feel a little more ready for the week. That might be a planning meeting with your spouse. That's what I do every single Sunday. It's kind of, okay, what's coming up? What does your week look like? This is what my week looks like. We're talking about appointments. We're talking about plans. We're talking about dinners. We're talking about any days that he needs me to step in and like take the kids to school or anything like that. We're just getting on the same page. Another thing for me is the living room. So that's just one very small, we have a pretty small house. It's a very small space that as a family, we always reset. 5 minutes max, just a quick reset, because that's the big hub for the next day, right? Monday morning, everyone's rushing out the door. If that space is scattered and feeling crazy and shoes aren't where they're supposed to be, it makes life so much harder. So you just think to yourself, like, what's one tiny thing that I could do to make Monday feel a little easier? For me, that is planning a full week of meals. For you, it might just be deciding on what dinner's going to be tomorrow. Maybe it has nothing to do with meals. Just one little thing. You don't need to kind of go down the list of like, okay, let's talk about this and this and this. Even as a family, you could do a little family council, a little spiritual thought, or just kind of a celebration of the past week. What went well? What's one way we could support each other this week? Whatever it is that makes you feel like you're closing out the previous week, kind of unwinding from that week, if you will, and getting ready for the coming week. As the mom, we really are, and we feel like it probably, kind of holding it all together, holding everyone together. And when we realize a mom who rests and resets every single Sunday shows up better. She serves differently because she's not running on fumes. She hears the Spirit differently. And that's probably the thing to focus on more than anything on the Sabbath, is really tapping into what is it that I need to be doing, right? What am I doing well? What can I try a little differently this week? Or just tapping into God's love, right? Asking Him, show me how you see what I'm doing, because you know He loves you, He loves your efforts, and we just can lose sight of that sometimes. but the Spirit will guide us as we seek that inspiration. How to make the Sabbath a delight again. Because maybe it hasn't been feeling like a delight lately. But it's such a gift. Man, I was so uplifted being at church. Just something was really clicking and resonating with me. I was putting in a lot of effort and thought, not just kind of going through the motions. And I felt so recharged and ready for the week. And Sunday has the opportunity to do that. God rested, right? Like, that's a whole big part of the creation. We need to rest too, because it prepares us for the work that we are going to do. And I feel like the hesitation is to feel like, oh, if I'm resting, I'm neglecting my responsibilities. And that's definitely not what we're trying to do. And maybe that's a trap that you sometimes fall into, right? Maybe I certainly have had times where I'm like, yeah, that was kind of lazy of me, right? But it's intentional. If we're really focused on rest, it can be a very intentional choice to let the house be more lived in, to simplify Sunday dinner. Whatever it is, it's a conscious choice in our recognition of the importance of rest. And none of your things need to look like my things, right? That's never the point. Your day of rest is going to look different for your family, your needs. And that's why I always say, don't mother like me, mother like you.